Alright. Well, you can't see my face right now. You know why. You know why. I was just leaping along one day. Leap, leap, leap. And I found myself face planting into a car. Goddamn Ohio drivers. I think fellow animals would do a better job than some of these humans how they drive. But you know, as soon as when I get fixed up, then we'll be in order here. Ooh, the chat's really large. Why is it so large? Hey, Blazy, welcome! I am your host, Michael Ringtail. As you can see, I'm a lemur, though I'm in a bit of a situation here where I need to get my face fixed. But anywho, there's a lot of things happening in the human world, and we're going to observe the humans and their antics. Starting off with these old raisins. As you can see, this one's losing, the one on the left here is losing his sight. That's why he has to have that big fucking plaque in the background with the time and date. Fucking little pinhead here. And we got this guy, holy shit. He's definitely a raisin. A raisin with hair. Ah, see, your human boyfriend bought a ring for you. That's nice. Probably should just change your name back to Blazy, but whatever. Oh shit, is that supposed to be a surprise? I don't know if you should reveal that you've saw it. But welcome.
To 80% of the Constitution, about 75 to 80% of the Constitution is created, and I use that word specifically, is created by the Bible itself.
Wrong. The human constitution is not created by your Bible. It was created by humans just as much as that Bible was created by humans. That being said, a lot of its laws were not based on that at all. You don't need a Bible to figure out that humans murdering each other, living things murdering each other is bad. Oh, because a lot of these old farts all sound alike when it comes to these politicians. They just all start being really tired and convoluted. It's like they all have lead poisoning. Pretty sure most of our boomers just have lead poisoning, and we got lucky. We just have pesticides in our systems instead.
Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights, right? I mean, the 10 Bill of Rights. Like I say, the Bill of Rights and the 10 Commandments, right? The Bill of Rights and the 10 Commandments are the promises that we make to each other. When you really dig in and you list and you read the Bill of Rights and you list and read the 10 Commandments, those are promises that we make. And then the fulfillment of those promises, are the Constitution and the Bible. That's how we get fulfillment of those promises. So I kind of have learned that, I guess, in the last...
I guess there's some exceptions when it comes to that sort of thing. And a lot of states will allow people under 17 to be married. It's one of the issues that a lot of humans are having right now. They want to hate on gay people, and yet child marriages are a prevalent thing. Obviously, you and Christor are about the same age, so that's not really an issue there. The issue is when you have someone as old as 30 marrying someone who's 14. There's people that are in their mid-20s marrying someone in their 13 and 14. It's insane in some of these states that it's allowed. And the horrifying thing is, even though you're in this marriage, you are not allowed to be divorced until you hit 18. Figure that one out. And yet people like this here that we're watching right now want, queer humans to be murdered. They probably want me to be murdered because I am a talking lemur, and that's just an abomination in itself.
uh, in probably the last few years, and I think partially.
So these two guys are idiots. They think the Ten Commandments had anything to do with the Constitution, and it's completely, utterly ridiculous. I am God. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Yeah, where's the law? Where's the constitutional law in that? Thou shalt not steal. That's a given. Thou shalt not bear false witness. Well, that's just lying. Thou shalt not, cheat or be unfaithful. Thou shalt honor thy mother and father. Well, that's not a constitutional law. And some mothers and fathers are assholes. So fuck them. What else we got?
I finally got him to leave the Airbnb, but I was absolutely terrified. Terrified that someone would, obviously now, looking back, I can see why someone would think that, but me, 19-year-old me, like when I was younger, I was like, why would someone fly me out here to do something political with the expectation that I was going to sleep with them? That's like...
Oh no, you can get married. I mean, I think it depends on like your parents or something like that. If you really, really want to get married at this point. Though, I mean, it's only a year away. The years are going to start going real fast once you start hitting those teens and 20s.
Crazy to me. They didn't say anything about that. I didn't say anything about that. Why would they put me in that situation? If I could go back in time and slap myself and tell myself to be a less trusting individual, I would. I would, because I put myself in a lot of really unfortunate situations politically because of this naive trust I had.
I don't know if that's a political situation. If you go into an Airbnb with some guy who's expecting sex out of you simply because you're hanging out with him or something, or going on a work trip.
Sadly enough, probably some of these feminists that still, I think, have insane ideas in a lot of ways, but some of them probably would have given me the same warning. Just they took that lived experience to such an extreme that they made it impossible to communicate to anyone else who hadn't lived it. And it makes me angry looking back at some of the radical...
Yeah, so let's just start pulling clips that are almost 10 years old at this point from college kids and random street encounters that never really happened to people in real life, and blaming them for your bad decisions. Look, the only way that people even become aware of these issues is because you have people that are loud about it. Whether it's out in the public sphere like this, or they make internet videos, or they start boosting posts. That's the only way people get aware of this sort of thing. Yeah, civil rights for black people didn't happen because they sat quietly in the back seat of the bus. No, they got their rights because they defied the laws that were in place about serving people who are black in restaurants and allowing them to sit whatever the hell they want on their buses. Only 3 more months and Christopher's coming back, and also going back to school on the 3rd. Well, I don't know, maybe he wants to be, just wants to engage, and then after a year later they get married, officially.
That I confronted, when I think, if you guys had just been more reasonable with how you presented things, if you...
Yeah, play centrist games, win fascist prizes. I've observed this quite well. That's pretty much the most effective way to allow fascists to take over, is just to be a libtard.
You hadn't made it all men, if you hadn't sat around and demonized an entire sex and told me they were all rapists and been hysterical with how you presented your ideas, then maybe me and other women would have actually listened to the real criticism.
The Trigglypuff woman who's been such a prominent figure of the feminist movement ever since her little outrage during a conference. What is this, like 10 years ago now? Give me a break.
Criticisms of the world and gender dynamics that you had, some of the important lessons you had. It makes me really mad, because there are things that feminists say that are true. There are power dynamics that exist. There are situations that women can get themselves in where they'll be in danger. And
who is this?
all
Alt-right
of those
activist
warnings
Lauren
fall on
Southern?
deaf ears when you put them in the context of ridiculous, exaggerated talking.
I love how they find a way to spin a certain a bad situation in order to hate the left even more. She can't say that she agrees with feminists and all that, and the things that they say, and things that they demonstrate to be true, because then she lose her platform and she lose her money and everything. But she can meet like a third of the way there, but still blame them. It's still your fault this happened to me. It's still your fault. I would have listened to you if you were just a little more reasonable about your things. Oh yeah, sure you would. When it's easier for you to be, when it's easier for you to shut out other people, then you'd be willing to listen to more.
Points of all men are evil, right? So it makes me very sad looking back and wishing that I could have had reasonable conversations with these women. It was probably half my fault, half theirs, right?
I'm just going through some comments here. Strong reactions are people, because people are passionate and upset. Yeah, that'd be about right. If you guys hadn't done the thing that you totally didn't do, maybe I would have listened to things I should have listened to anyways. Yeah. There's a great example. In fact, I can probably pull it up easily. There it is. Breitbart claims liberals have fooled the right into not getting Trump's vaccine so they would die. So what they're trying to say here in this article, when I read through it, this is just like that woman. They're saying because the reason why a lot of Republicans and conservatives didn't get the vaccine was because the left was pushing it so hard for them to get it. So with them pushing it so hard for them to get it, they decided not to get it in a way of defiance. And so because a lot of them died now of COVID, they're turning around and saying it's your fault for pushing it so hard, making us not want to get it. You played a game of reverse psychology with us, which is something you do with children. Is reverse psychology. They're essentially here. Breitbart, a $1 million company, is saying that that somehow the left tricked the right into not getting vaccinated by playing reverse psychology games. So like, the left was just supposed to know this and say not to get the vaccine so that they would get it. That makes just no sense. His conservative peers have been convinced by the left not to take the vaccine so more of them die out. They're convinced by the left by them saying to take the vaccine. That's exactly what they're saying then. It's ridiculous. What else you got?
It's the same thing with giving women the right to vote. Look at the graphs. I'm just saying. Look at the graphs. Look at the statistics on there.
That's what I need to grab.
Look at how the country would be if only men voted versus what the country would be like if only women voted. Look at the last 5 or 6 elections in the presidential. Look at the midterm elections. Look at the difference there. Then go ahead and go to abortion. Take a look at abortion. Look at our birth rates since the legalization of abortion. Look at our birth rates since Roe v. Wade. Look at contraceptives. Look at the birth rate since contraceptives. Look at the way that women dress today versus the way that women dressed before. This is the reason why I'm not totally opposed to a lot of the things that Muslims have to offer. A lot of the things that Muslims actually seem to be right.
Let's see what some of the chat says here. Only white land-owning men should be allowed to vote. Raise it to 25 when our brains are fully developed. Estimate 250 partners per year. Fostering rapid propagation of the virus among the gay community. We need to limit voting access. The 19th killed this country. 19th Amendment's gotta go. The 19th Amendment's gotta go. Really? The 19th Amendment? The 19th Amendment prohibits the United States and its states from denying the right to vote to citizens of the United States on basis of sex. In effect, recognize the right of women to vote. Really? We need to get rid of the 19th Amendment. That amendment. The amendment that allows women to vote. I wish I could see his numbers here. How many people are watching this shit?
Of abortion. Look at our birth rate since Roe v. Wade.
Let 8-year-olds vote so they can vote for whoever promises them the most free toys. Raise minimum wage to 26. Who's this? His reputation is such that he infected dozens of gay, likely hundreds of gay human men and anonymous bathhouse sex. Who? Return voting only to white males.
Men voted.
Black Pigeon's speech has a great video clear explaining how and why women destroy nations and societies. Oh my fucking god. These fucking losers. These fucking losers. I hope these people don't have jobs. I don't mind paying the taxes so that they get their welfare. Well, you know, I don't pay taxes. I'm a Libra, but you know, I have my human partners here that pay the taxes. You know, they don't mind paying the taxes for the welfare that have these people like get the basic needs that they need. But goddamn, these people do not need jobs. They do not need to make money.
They seem to be right about a lot of things. Muslims seem to be right about a lot of things, and they've held steady on a lot of things. Honestly, being gay.
Possibly you're going to be moving out of the country to one of the island nations. You know, either Australia or you know, one of them. Just we're just gonna get a passports to secure ourselves and just, you know, get the fuck out if we need to. So I'll go in my little travel crate and endure the flight to my new location. It's all dependent on the Crafty Andy and Backfire and Kieran. What happens with us here?
The woman question. They've held steady. They've held firm on a lot of things.
Is this guy married? He's got a fucking silver play button too, which is really disgusting on YouTube here. So.
And I'm not totally opposed to what they have to offer, what they are selling, and I'm not totally opposed to. Honestly, I'm really not totally opposed to the whole pants question either. Yeah.
Muslims still want us dead. To be honest, they're based on the woman thing. Well, whatever.
This is something my wife doesn't. My wife, but we're inching her. We're nudging her along. The whole thing where women are wearing pants now. When did that start? 1800s? You know, they have shows and movies about how this was like a liberating thing. No, they would have gotten stoned. Actually, they would have gotten ostracized.
He's talking about like it's a fucking good thing. Man, I hope this human's not fucking married anyone. I hope he's not making spawns on the earth. I already like this comment. I was just telling my hubby the other day, thank God our right to vote was constitutional amendment, or that would be on the chopping block as well. It's not easy to amend the Constitution, not that they won't want to try. It'll be tough. Please vote blue. Yeah, vote blue no matter what. It sure is done is so good for the humans here so far, right? You just lost all abortion rights in more than half the states of the country. Fucking Christo-fascist. That's what they have here. Christo-fascist. Vincent James. Vincent James. If you can find out where he lives, do anything you can to get him fired from whatever job he has. You know, cut off all his revenue. His fucking debit card shouldn't even work anymore, as far as I'm concerned. Florida polls LGBTQ plus support anti-bullying video after Don't Say Gay bill. One of many negative impacts of Florida's newly enacted Don't Say Gay law is the removal of a 12-minute video that teaches middle and high school students about preventing bullying and support of their LGBTQ plus peers. Let's see if we can find this here. I want to find this video and see how we agree with it or not. All right. Let's see. Let's just type in gay. Is there a way to view this video?
For the advocate, we're joined by CEO and President.
That's something else. Okay. Is this
Florida
it?
school eliminates anti-LGBTQ plus bullying measures because the movement were leading to the
Have a picture on your.
Is loud and clear.
right.
Oh, okay. They also plan to reduce the queer support guide drastically, and the school board will vote Monday on a policy that would require schools to notify parents if their students wish to change their names or pronouns on official records, including yearbooks, ID cards, etc. So if you are expressing any kind of anything that would be considered queer, being flamboyant or gay or queer or trans, they're requiring the teachers and officials to notify the parents. You know, when they're at a vulnerable state where they can't support themselves and possibly get ostracized and kicked out of their homes. It's the Don't Say Gay bill, right? But they said it was just to make sure that kids K through 3rd grade aren't taught sexual things, but yet it's eliminating everything. Yeah, go figure. Restricts how schools can teach about sexual orientation and gender identity. Parents say the law gives them control over their children's education, but critics call it discriminatory and unnecessary, and it's true. And they're right. I just want to make sure you both have a look before taking it down, she wrote, along with screenshots from the video about how to support queer peers and respond to bullying. When asked about the deletion, district spokesman Tracy Pierce told Jacksonville, the materials you referenced have been removed for legal review to ensure the content complies with recent state legislation. So we're wasting everyone's fucking time reviewing this shit too. The removal comes after the district removed a 37-page document support guide last fall and drafted consolidated support guidance that removes many of the explicit protections for transgender students. The latest boogeyman, transgender humans. Ooh, spooky, spooky. Hey, Heather. Sewell warns that removing the video deprives young people of vital support. That's just great news. Speaking of great news, Boston queer senior housing site vandalized with hateful graffiti. School building in Boston has been converted to queer-friendly senior housing. Was vandalized with threatening graffiti such as "Die by fire" over the weekend, but the community is railing up to stand up to the hate. Oh yes, stand up until the point where they shoot you dead. Other messages included "Die slow," "Your fairy tale is over," and "There are two genders." And they are covering up the graffiti. Police are not investigating. I mean, they say they were investigating, but they're not. Revealing surveillance video and more. I'm sure they are. Sure, they'll do their best. An Australian woman was detained by a U.S. border official who asked if she recently had an abortion. Oh, I thought we were going to be leaving these things up to the states and shit, right? Like whether or not you can just get one. But no, apparently now they're being stopped. People are being stopped and asked if they ever had an abortion. As if it's their fucking business. An Australian human woman traveling through the United States was detained and interrogated by border officials about whether she had recently had an abortion. The Guardian Australian reported that Madeline Gurley was traveling from Australia to Canada, where she planned to house and cat sit in exchange for free accommodations. Blah, blah. 32-year-old Guardian, she was treated like a criminal during her stop in Los Angeles when border officials became suspicious about why she was traveling to Canada. Again, as if it's their fucking business outside of, like, is she going to do anything that could bring harm to herself or others. After being photographed, patted down, interrogated, she was asked whether she was pregnant. As she moved from one detention room to the next, she was asked again if she was pregnant. If she said she wasn't, she was asked whether she had an abortion. I don't know if she had forgotten or if she wanted to work out while I was lying or something. She told the Guardian Australia. I said no, and she looked at me again and said, "Have you recently had an abortion?" There are already talks of having border patrol to stop people and to check to see if there was a pregnant person there seeking an abortion or possibly seeking an abortion. Oh, she was rejected? Why? Gurley was deported to Australia for breaching conditions of the program. A spokesman for U.S. Customs and Border Protection said visa waiver program prohibits applications from engaging in any type of employment or get compensation for services rendered. According to the program, house sitting for free accommodations falls under this rule. It's still an odd sense of questioning. I'll get that later. Maryland police to enforce law due to protest Supreme Court justices' homes. So they passed a law recently that you can no longer protest outside people's homes in response to the Supreme Court justices rightfully being protest over the decision to make women second-class citizens in this country. Montgomery Country Police in Maryland warned on Wednesday that officers will enforce a law against disturbing the peace as protest continues outside their homes, the Supreme Court justices' homes. So that's great. They're just going to start cracking down on protesting altogether next. And speaking of next, the next battle, contraception is on the line here for a lot of people, as the Supreme Court has decided they might look into the case in the 60s that allows people to have condoms, birth control, etc., related to the 14th Amendment of the right to privacy. So we had this fucking married woman who was refused by a religious Walgreens employee from purchasing a box of condoms, saying that the sale goes against their religious belief. Well, that's a good way to get yourself fired, I'd say. You'd think it would be. If that wasn't certainly enough, Walgreens sided with the employee, saying that there's a company policy that protects employees from completing a transaction to which they have a moral objection to. Well, morals are bullshit. I'm sorry to let you know in such a crude way, but morals are complete and utter horseshit. I deal in ethics. And ethics states that an adult human can go out and buy a box of condoms if she doesn't want to make a little spawn in her womb. This is an adult woman being refused a box of condoms. So how the fuck are you supposed to sell condoms then? You have to wait for another clerk? That's bullshit. What if she's the only one there? I'm sure the company that makes these condoms would love to hear about this. This is only just going to further embolden these Christo-fascists to go further with this sort of thing. How long before they start refusing HIV medication? Or PrEP, or anything of that nature. And saying, well, it's, it goes against my religious beliefs. I believe this is being, you got your disease because it's God's wrath. Whatever. There's another story like this years ago. A Muslim who worked at a retail store sued the store and did not win. He got fired because he refused to touch any alcohol or meat products because it went against his religion. Even though it's wrapped in plastic and the alcohol's in bottles, he refused to touch any pork or alcohol. And because of this restriction that he put on the store, they fired him, rightfully so. Same thing should have happened to this woman. You refuse to sell your products that you carry in your own fucking store based on some goddamn sex hang-up that you have. You're a Puritan and you should be fired. How about that? Get over your own fucking personal hang-ups when it comes, and stop trying to enforce them on everyone else.
A Walgreens employee refused to sell a married woman a box of condoms, citing his...
There they weren't busy. And she had 2 crosses, not one, but 2 crosses hanging around her neck. And when I told her what I was there for, my birth control, she looks me up and down and goes, like, excuse me? She then says, yeah, we're not going to refill that prescription. You need to call your provider. And I said, you won't refill it, or...
Why is it a prescription for condoms?
You can't refill it. And she goes, you just need to call your provider. So that's what I do. Then I get a message saying that it's delayed now, that I can get it, but it's delayed. And then I get a message saying it's out of stock. What is it? So I call Walgreens again. The amazing lady who helped me this time was great. She said, I don't know why we haven't refilled this for you. You have 4 more refills left and your provider called approving it. I'm going to refill this for you, but would you mind telling me who helped you last time? I was intrigued, so I told her, and I said, could I ask why? She goes, I know exactly who you're talking about, and we've been having this problem for the last 2 weeks. They've been having a problem with women not being able to get their birth control for the last 2 weeks.
So fucked. That's so fucked. So let's say, so if a human doesn't want to have a kid, whether it's for health reasons or just personal reasons, it doesn't really fucking matter to me. This Walgreens employee is able to refuse people and refuse to fill prescriptions if it goes against her own fucking moral hang-ups. Get this fucking woman fired. This fucking woman refusing to do her job, get her fucking fired. There's no fucking reason for this.
To target previous country, he revisited country in the majority. As Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas joined the majority in erasing abortion rights for half the country, he revisited his shopping list of other demonstrably erroneous precedents the court could tackle next. He included the 1965 Griswold v. Connecticut ruling that guaranteed married couples a right to privacy in their bedrooms. Including the right to buy contraception. That was what the.
So they want to take away your rights to have birth control next. They want that next. They want to leave it up to the states that who eventually will just make it illegal all across the board, because Democrats don't do jack shit for the humans here. They just roll over. They compromise until there's nothing left. That's exactly how you end up with Hitler. I mean, don't want to go into Godwin's law or whatever, but that's just how you end up with Hitler. That's how you end up with a theocracy. We don't live in a democracy at this point. We haven't lived in one for, I don't know, 40 years now. 10-year-old should have had that baby. So if you don't remember, there was a 10-year-old who got raped in Ohio. She got pregnant. She couldn't get an abortion. She had to go to a different state to get the abortion. The main legacy news media, Fox, MSNBC, I don't care who, they started declaring the story as a fake, as something made up. Fox was one of them. And then there was a male who was arrested. The one who actually raped this poor human girl. He confessed. So, I mean, it wasn't fake. It was real, and it happened. And well, what do you got here? Jim Bopp, what a name. An Indiana lawyer who authored the model legislation in advance of the Supreme Court's decision overturning Roe v. Wade, told Politico on Thursday that his law only provides exceptions when the pregnant person's life is in danger. She would have had the baby, and as many women who have had babies as a result of rape, we would hope that she would understand the reason and ultimately the benefit of having the child. What's the benefit to a 10-year-old having a child? Anyone watching this, anyone that comes across this, I want to know, what's the benefit of having a child at 10 years old? Second, I want to ask, what's the benefit of having a child, period? What is the benefit? What's the incentive? That you have something that you have to take care of for up to 18 years at least? They have to clothe, feed, enforce that they go to school. Deal with their little hang-ups. Deal with their development phases where they don't want to talk to you and they're angsty. They want to probably shoot everyone in their school. Because gun access is just so easy. What's the benefit? Especially a 10-year-old. Can you imagine? Your mom's 10 years old when you're born. That means when she's 20, you're just turning 10. That she only has 10 years on you. That she just barely... So, wait a minute. The first 7 years of your life, your mother is not even an adult yet. Your mother's not even considered a legal adult until they're 18. They can't even get a job until they're 18, for the most part. So who's going to take care of that 10-year-old up until then? Who's going to pay for it? Pretty sure Bopp isn't. Mr. Bopp here. He probably would cut those welfare and food stamp programs even further if he could. We hope that she would understand the reason and ultimately the benefit of having the child. What? Benefit? Yep, there he is. 27-year-old man was charged with rape in connection with the case. 27 fucking years old. A good 17 years on this girl. We don't think, heart-wrenching as those circumstances are, we don't think we should devalue the life of the baby because of the sins of the father. It's not a baby. It's a fucking fetus. And I hate having to fucking say that. I used to say it was a baby all the time just to piss these people off. But you know what? If it has to be a fetus, it's a fucking fetus then. It's not a baby until it comes out. How about that? It's not a baby until it comes out and can survive outside the womb. And even then, I leave it up to, I at least give you at least a 30-day return policy on that, alright? After 30 days, you decide to keep your baby. You can keep the baby. If not, then we could just, mercifully end its life. How about that? Fuck these people. They're pro-life so much. Let's see them take care of all the fucking orphan kids. Oh, that's right, they don't. They don't age out of the fucking system. And become drains on society. Sorry to say, but yeah, a lot of them do not develop correctly. And of course, the ones that do age out of the system should be accommodated. They should be treated with dignity and respect. That doesn't change the fact that things could be better. Things could have been way fucking better. The results could have been way different. The foster care system was a little bit better. I would say whatever, but it's not. It sounds like a fucking nightmare. 2022 is already a record year for state bills seeking to curtail queer rights, as if, you know, gay hate isn't high enough. Alright, so here we go. The slew of bills is spread across 35 states, 27 of which have legislators controlled by Republicans, which is interesting. So that means 8 states are controlled by Democrats, and yet these laws are still happening. The 162 bills that were introduced this year tally just above the 151 considered for all of 2021. And more than double than the 76 considered in 2020. So this is the strategy that these cretins like to do. They propose bills, they get denied, and they propose them again. They reword it, they rework it. They keep doing it again and again and again. Or they try to include something with it. Like, Michigan had a case where they couldn't overturn its sodomy laws as unconstitutional because their sodomy laws included Logan's Law. Logan's Law is an animal abuse law. There was a guy that threw a vat of acid on a husky's face, and they made some unique law as if animal abuse wasn't already illegal, but they yet again made another law to make animal abuse, I guess, tougher in some cases. And that somehow was tied together with the right for queers to just exist. So they couldn't overturn it. So that's what's probably going to happen here. These bills are going to be pushed again and again and again, and some of them are going to get through as they compromise more and more. The ACLU tracks anti-queer legislation by focusing on bills specifically attacking or targeting queer people, which include measures of restricting school curricula that deal with queer issues and religious exemption bills. Yep, we know how they work. There we go. 21 anti-queer bills have been enacted into law during the 2022 legislative session, according to the ACLU. Especially the rise of anti-trans bills, as more people publicly identify as transgender. Because as society becomes more accepting, more people are going to identify as that group, willfully. Coming out of the closet. And a lot of this is coming in to what's so-called fairness in women's sports. First of all, sports are never fair. You're gonna have someone stronger, taller, and faster than the next guy all the time. That happens. Or girl. These people do not care about women's sports. They just want to restrict trans people. And to give you a good example, what is it? Arkansas, there it is. Arkansas signs into law the anti-trans bill for banning trans people from sports. So the one person who was involved in sports who was trans was banned. The one person. One. one person who was involved in high school sports who's trans no longer can do it. And the entire state had to come together to ban this one person. Doesn't say here, but it was listed. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's 1 or 1,000. It just shouldn't fucking happen. And more anti-queer news for us here. This is why I imagine a lot of humans here are considering leaving. Federal judge on Friday temporarily blocked the Biden administration from enforcing directives that extend civil rights protections to queer students and workers. The ruling comes roughly 1 year after a group of 20 conservative state attorney generals filed a lawsuit against 2 federal agencies for their interpretation of the 1972 landmark civil rights statute known as Title IX, which prohibited employers from discriminating against workers based on race, religion, or sex. And now there's a bunch of assholes saying that straight people should be included in Title IX. As if there's people being fired for being straight. Or Christian. You can be Christian all you want, but once you say I have to discriminate against this person because it's part of my Christian beliefs, well then you're imposing your beliefs on other people, you're proselytizing in that sense, and you should be fired. Yep, last year those agencies, following guidance from President Biden, said that protections afforded under Title IX would extend, and Title VII extended to gay and transgender individuals and would be enforced in workplaces and in schools. Yeah, I remember it was such a great ruling too. When our rights, when human rights to marry the same sex came into play, because it also solidified protection in the workplace. The lawsuit, filed by Herbert H. Slattery III, the Attorney General of Tennessee, and joined by 19 other states, contended that the government infringed on states' powers to regulate their public workplaces and schools. The Attorney General also said that the administration violated federal law because it did not follow proper process in implementing those mandates. Who fucking cares? Just don't... Stop being an asshole and stop discriminating against people based on superficial reasons. What's so hard about this? They did not even begin to enforce the guidelines. That's great. The administration also requested that the lawsuit be dismissed in part because it had not begun enforcing the guidelines. So it's just going to sit, it's just been sitting there and not even implementing the guidelines and how they should treat different people. So it's just an empty platitude. Is that what they're trying to say? That was just an empty platitude? I know that's just a legal way of trying to say to dismiss it, but still. What's taking them so long? But yeah, that didn't matter. They still managed to block it temporarily, at the least. In 2020, the Supreme Court ruling, Justice McNeil Groshek, writing for the majority, said that it is impossible to discriminate against a person for being homosexual or transgender without discriminating against that individual based on sex. Before that decision, it was legal in more than half of the states to fire workers for being gay, bisexual, or transgender. And they still try to do it. In all these little pockets of these states, they still try to do that shit. And they get away with it because not everyone has the clout and notoriety to get media attention, let alone a lawyer to work pro bono for them. The judge also wrote that the Biden administration's directives went beyond what the Supreme Court ruling mandated. And as if any of that's not depressing, well, the future of cars is a subscription nightmare. So yeah, this is something that affects everybody now. Heated seats, remote start key fobs, and other creature comforts are likely to be subject to monthly or annual fees. It's funny because there's an app for a phone that would allow your phone to be a teleprompter. And it's not $1, it's not $2, it's not $10 or $30 or $50. It's $5 a month to use this app, which is just ridiculous. And now Microsoft Office is doing a subscription model. Adobe went to a subscription model. I cut that shit off not too long ago, and I've been happy ever since. There's so many free options, there's so many decent one-time purchase options out there at this point. Adobe shouldn't fucking exist the way it does right now. It makes no sense. My version of Adobe lasted, and still would technically work. The only thing it wouldn't be able to do is just 4K video. There's just certain formats that don't work on it, but that's it. It worked just fine. I didn't need to upgrade every year and spend $1,000 on it. It's ridiculous. So what's going on here? Some media outlets noticed that BMW was selling an $18 a month subscription to heated seats in a number of countries, including South Korea. The German automaker had previously tried and failed to get customers to pay $80 a month for access to Apple CarPlay and Android Auto features that are otherwise free in other companies. But even after BMW reversed its decision to force people to pay for something that used to be free, it was clear that it wouldn't stop there. Yeah, they're going to keep working back the price until enough people take it that are making a profit off of it. Cars are more full of computers and software than ever before, which has made it possible for automakers to add new features or patch problems on the fly with over-the-air software updates. This is going to be another lawsuit in the making. There's going to be someone that... We're going to have to start jailbreaking our fucking cars to get access to features that are currently on it. So even though you're buying a car that might have heated seats and remote starting, and even features including the ability to turn your brights on and off automatically, they want to make that a subscription model. They just want to start making everything a subscription model. You want to play video games? $10 a month. You want to watch this batch of movies that this company owns? $8. This other batch of movies and TV shows? $10. Oh, this other streaming service? That's another $15 right there. If you don't want ads. If you want ads, you can pay, do the $10 package, and it's just a fucking drives you insane. There's no wonder that there's a whole slew of people that forget what subscriptions they sign up for. When I worked at the call center, I know it's amazing that they let a lemur work at a call center, but hey, they'll take anyone. One of the top calls I got at this bank was people signing up for subscription services and forgetting that they did. And then the trial period ends, and they get charged the $20, $15, or $30 that it was. Forgetting to either cancel it, or their website is in such a way, or in such a state that they can't cancel it. And that's what we're going to have here, only for cars. Ugh, who's these 25% of... Wait a minute. Cox Automotive conducted a survey of 217 people who intended to buy a new car. Only 25% said they'd be willing to pay a monthly or annual fee to unlock a feature in their vehicle. The remaining 75% said, piss off. Who are these insane 25%? These idiots who say they don't mind a subscription service as part of their car. Give me a fucking break. If I want to... The only thing I would ever pay a subscription service for... Oh, actually, I already do. It's called insurance. If something gets damaged on it, if I have an accident, something needs to get fixed like that, I can use the insurance. Other shit, it's not that expensive. Replace the brakes, well, $150, $200, whatever. Tires are relatively expensive. They can be. But how often do you have to replace your tires? This is just another model of the perpetual growth that's impossible to maintain. They just want to keep doing it. They just want to keep growing. They have to increase their profits every year, otherwise it's considered a failure. Even though they're still making money. If they didn't make all the money last year, then they're a failure. They have to somehow top and outdo themselves every fucking year. And people are buying less cars. People are buying less shit. So yeah, this is another insane example. In fact, almost forgot about this story. This was fun. There's a theory that stingy millennials are to blame for the sluggish economy. Stingy. We're not... Apparently, millennial humans are not spending enough money. And somehow they're the reason why the economy sucks so much. Millennials, somehow self-obsessed, very materialistic, but at the same time, not spending enough money on shit. Millennials, the self-obsessed, avocado toast-loving generation, might be behind slower economic growth, according to a research note last week from Raymond James. Well, do they want us to buy the avocado toast or not? This new generation, scarred by the financial crisis, is saving more than This new generation, scarred by the financial crisis, is saving more than the free-spending boomers did before them, and it's causing an economic imbalance. So Alright, obviously I can't own a savings account because I'm an animal. But the savings account that the humans I know own do not have a lot of savings in there. Usually 100, 200 bucks. It's hard to grow that shit, especially when you have to buy things and pay for bills. The higher savings rate, we believe, has had disinflationary impact, driving the relatively slow growth and low inflation in this recovery. What? This is 2019. Oh boy. Deflation biases in the global economy. Yeah, that I wish we had some deflation right now. I think we all wish we had some deflation. I just thought that was a funny thing. And in other sad news, this brilliant artist is now dead. Responsible for things like the Omega Mart and different locations, part of the Meow Wolf company. It's great stuff. In fact, you know, let me look at the article. Let's look at the... Whoop. Let's look at a commercial from them. Yeah, here's a tour.
This...
Fuck your ad.
A walking tour through Omega Mart in Area 15 in Las Vegas, and my review of Is It Worth It? Now, if you haven't heard of Omega Mart, I wonder how you ended up watching this video, but if you haven't heard of it, let me tell you a little bit about it.
You see the shells are glitching
as we walk through here. So Omega Mart just opened this year in 2021 in Las Vegas. It is the hottest attraction this bread sushi push pin in here too. And like, see this little art? This is like a watermelon, but it's got this orb. Whether you want now, and right in the introduction, for it over and over.
So yeah, it looks like a great place. They have something like that around and
into the supermarket, and then it takes you a long time to figure out that this is back here. Although I guess now that you've watched this video,
it's one big experience. And something a little light before I end it. 30 paintings from thrift stores and garage sales that were upgraded by other artists. I'm pretty sure this is going to inspire something. I like this. Clever girls. See, this is something I would definitely hang up in my living room too. Iron Giant. Lord of the Rings over this generic mountain scene. Cat bombing. Putting Bob Ross, yep. Appropriate. Holy Grail. Pig Bomb. Yeah, some stupid fucking message here. This little, you know, this relatively basic looking scenery here. And boom. That makes it look so much better. Godzilla. This sat in the thrift store for a while. Liberated, adds some life to it. Perfect. This one's amazing looking. I love this. Krampus, Pumpkin Magician. Pizzagate. Now this one's great. Yeah, I mean the name makes the painting. Otherwise, it's just like, you know, this kid's hanging out, eating pizza. Met a really talented artist that you might all like. His name is Blaze, and he's got quite a great universe. Yes, the juxtaposition, cat bomb. Perfect. A little worn out. That ATST? I don't know. Do you know if War of the Worlds, the Rembrandt? Great. Oh, that's fantastic there. UFO. Yeah, I mean that whole kind of matches up. Ah. Mr. Pickle's Sphere Calamity. Courage. SpongeBob, Life. Man, this goes on. Ha! I like that. This is something I would probably do right here. Oh, that's kind of creepy. Now I'm curious, what's this Mr. Pickle's Sphere Calamity? Alright. Yes. Oh, okay, I'm actually pretty much done, so just leave it out there. It is time for me to engage in food sustenance just in time, too. Because we are wrapping it up. So yes, that was fun. I am Michael Ringtail. Thanks for joining me, Heather, Blazy, and yeah, we'll just leave this up. I'll just leave this up as public. All right. Well, next Monday should be around 5 o'clock, ideally. And see what else. What else is going to take our hope away from humanity here? All right. Take care. Yes, dumpster fire indeed.